What's up guys, Mitsofting with another Witchfire video. I'm going to show you how to complete these cleansing bells on Marshland, or at least give you a strategy that should help most people. I know it's one of the harder things to do on this new map right now, especially for the Cathedral mission that you need to do it to complete it. And you are going to struggle if you just go in kind of guns a-blazing and hope for the best, because there are a lot of enemies, there are a lot of variables on this map where a boss can show up or a few other things can invade you. So the first thing you really want to do is find the bell and then clear out all the enemies before spawning the waves from the bell, and make sure you have enough ammo on you, because there will be enemies that just start joining the fight if they're nearby, so you kind of want to kill everything in the surrounding area. Once you start the actual bell cleansing, at least for the first 2 waves, maybe 3, you want to be as aggressive as possible. Something you might not realize about the cleansing bell waves is that the enemies aren't going away until you kill them, but the waves will continue spawning. So if you don't kill the enemies quickly enough, you're going to end up with all 5 waves of enemies on top of you at once. And the first 2 to 3 waves are pretty manageable. It's not that many enemies that spawn at once, so you really want to just kind of rush them and take them all out really fast, because it's going to make it so when you get towards the end waves, there just aren't as many enemies on the map. What's going to get you killed is the number of enemies overwhelming you. When you start getting hit from range, you start getting hit by the bloaters, and most importantly, all of these things can also just be attacking the bell the entire time. So the key strategy you want to use is to try and stick as near to the bell as you can, and use spells or weapons or whatever you have to that slow enemies down. You want to focus the snipers that will shoot the bell from far away, while also maintaining a close proximity to the bell, so that when enemies do get to it with their melee weapons, you can quickly turn back and kill them. I use specifically ice spells. I'll show you my build at the end of this video that freeze enemies in place. You can put a bubble shield over the bell and protect it from getting shot at range. It will also instantly freeze any enemy that steps into it, which helps a lot from preventing them from touching the bell. And then of course on my light spell, I also freeze enemies instantly, and I have a double cast of it, so I can kind of just keep a lot of enemies from moving themselves closer to the bell and doing damage to it. And that's going to help a lot, especially when you get bells or certain areas on the Marshland map that give you an alarming number of enemies. I'll show a clip here of me fighting a crazy amount of enemies and a boss at the same time, and it's truly unbelievable that you could even manage to win that. But this is how I've figured out the best way to finish these cleansing bells. Of course, you could also just level up and become insanely overpowered and just destroy everything, but this is more of a guide for when you actually need assistance and might be struggling with these cleansing bell missions, because they really aren't easy. Don't worry about like people who might say get good or something, like you're playing a Souls game. Like, these are legit difficult, and the Marshland ones seem to be, I think, harder than the ones on the other map, specifically because I think so many enemies can just be hanging out nearby and you can get overwhelmed so easily. So like I said, ice spells help a lot. Any kind of ice items that you can use, which again I'll show my build here, it's going to slow enemies down and freeze them and stop them from getting to the bell, which is the #1 thing you want to do, while also making sure that you have some kind of hand cannon or long range weapon to take out the long range enemies and the bloaters and things in the air that are going to be able to hit the bell from far away. Because if you focus too much on the ground enemies, they will just go behind you and kill the bell, and you'll be like, oh no, I lost, and you don't even realize it because you were too busy killing everything. Okay, here's the actual build that I use to complete the cleansing bells on Marshland. I'll show you everything, but the main things you want to focus on are the freeze and just doing as much damage as possible with whatever guns you have. And it's definitely important to have a longer range weapon as well as a quick killing short range weapon. I used the Hangfire and the Rotweaver in this video, this one is great for range and this one is great for close range. Both are very good. This is my melee weapon, doesn't actually matter that much. This is what's important. So the light spell, this is Frost Cone. It's an icy cloud that freezes any enemy in its path. And then a heavy spell is Ice Sphere. This is what puts the bubble shield up, and it freezes anything that gets inside of it, as well as protects you from damage when you're inside of it. So you can go in there and heal. You can shoot things from inside of it and not get hurt. And when they try and get near the bell, they will freeze. This relic, the Braid of a Seductress, is also important. It radiates an aura that freezes any minor enemy who wounds the owner of the relic with a melee attack. So if you get meleeed while you're defending the bell, they will freeze. So you're freezing even more enemies with this. This is just for Witchfire. And then dodging a melee attack with dash freezes the attacker, killing them before they fall. Occasionally creates an ammo replenishing orb. So my Ring of Thorns is good for two reasons. One is more freeze if you dodge a melee attack well with a dash, and two, if you kill them while they're frozen, there is a chance that you get ammo, which ammo is always helpful. Can't say no to that. So the ring combined with the spells, all very good, works great, fantastic. If you go over to my rosary, I can tell you the most important thing is the extra light spell charge. Being able to cast your light spell twice is incredible, especially for this, because you're just freezing more enemies. And the other thing that's fantastic is the elemental duration bead, which, as you might have guessed, it makes your elements last longer. So frozen enemies are frozen for longer. So this is kind of the basis of my strategy of beating these cleansing bells, is just freezing everything, stopping them from getting to the bell. Your best offense is good defense, and if nothing is touching the bell, you have more time to kill it. And of course, you want to be strong enough to kill everything when it gets there. So if you have something like this build, it should be a lot easier for you to manage. So let me know in the comments if you need any more help with beating cleansing bells or something else that you might want to see a video on in Witchfire. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.